Hi, you're watching Cypher, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing my most recent lesson with Michael. It's lesson 21, and I'll be right back with all of that in just a moment. You're watching my 6-string journey, and on this channel I'm documenting my journey learning to play the electric guitar, my highs, my lows, reviews of my lessons, reviews of my equipment, just about everything to do with this journey. So today I want to talk about lesson 21. This is the most recent lesson that I did, which would have been last Wednesday. We're on day 316 and a little over 85 hours of practice done. And we started off the lesson, again it was a Skype lesson, so it was done over the internet, not face to face. And I should mention that I am missing the face to face lessons. Whilst it's been good to carry on with the Skype lessons and to keep the momentum going, it's difficult for Michael to see posture and arm and hand position. And I have had, and I am aware of a few little niggles that are creeping in, a few little bad habits. And to be quite honest, I'll be glad to get back to face with Michael and just tie those up. So I have been working quite hard, not on just the fingering position and the picking, but also posture and being a little bit more relaxed, but I'll come to that in just a moment. So we started off just by reviewing the pentatonic scale. So let me just run through where we are with that. Now Michael wants me to be doing that at about 60 beats a minute, so I need to be doing this with the metronome, and I'm roughly up to around about 140 beats a minute, playing it reasonably okay. Now as soon as I put the metronome on, it starts to go a little bit wonky, and as soon as I put the camera on, it goes even more. So then we try and forget about the camera, concentrate on the metronome, and see how we go. So a little bit buzzy on my little finger, which I'm still tending to lay down rather than get curled around and play with my fingertip. That is still something that I need to work on. So with my pentatonic practicing, what I'm tending to do is to practice more slowly. tend to do that without the metronome so that I can just practice on trying to get my little finger curled over, and I'm working on just some little exercises to try and build some more strength in my little finger and basically to get it curled around. But that's something that I do need to work on a little bit more. But the speed is coming up, albeit a little bit buzzy, but it is getting better. I was around about 120, 130 beats per minute. We're up to 140. Occasionally, if I'm having a good day, then I might take it up to 145 or 150 beats per minute. But 150 does tend to get a little bit ropey and more buzzing on my little fingers. It's going on the string and coming off more quickly. I often don't press down quite hard enough. So we were then looking at the chords. Again, this is with the Hero strumming pattern, and this tends to be a little bit ropey. So as you can see there, the chord changes whilst I'm trying to strum quickly are still very much a problem for me. In particular when I'm moving to the C chord and then to the G chord. Now I'm actually getting relatively clean chords relatively quickly now for these two chords. And moving between them is definitely getting easier and quicker. Slightly off on that one. So I am getting a little bit better when I'm moving them individually, but obviously when I'm strumming, that is then becoming quite a bit of a problem. We spoke a little bit about the 4-day break that I took, and Michael said that that was a good thing and it would enable me just to relax my fingers but not to stay away for too long, because otherwise my fingers and my hands get stiff and I've got to work on loosening them up again. But mentally it was really good to come back after that 4-day break and a much better frame of mind. And in fact I did a little bit of a session just before my lesson, about half an hour, and that was probably one of the better sessions that I've had, just working on my own, coming back in a much more positive frame of mind. So that was good, and Michael reiterated this is a good opportunity to de-stress, reset everything, think about everything, and yeah, that was a good thing. So one of the things that Michael picked up though was tension in my arm, something that we couldn't really address on the Skype call, but I've definitely got tension in my arm. So whenever I'm playing, even with the G chord, even though I know that I need to get a clean G chord is to bring my elbow out, it was still right into my ribs here. And then for the C, and he could see that really my arm was tucked in all the time. So one of the things that he wants me to do is just think about my posture, so bring myself a little bit more upright and just not be pushing really hard on the back of the neck with my thumb, but keep my elbow just free and my shoulder relaxed, and just to really lose all the tension in my fretting arm, because that will certainly make life a lot easier when I'm fretting. It will also stop any pain, and the other thing that as well that it does is it does bring my hand and my wrist into a better position when I'm more relaxed than when I'm tense. So that's the main takeaway from this lesson, is to just think about the posture, think about relaxing more and enjoying the practice rather than building the tension and having to work at it and getting frustrated and working through the frustration, and then it becomes a chore rather than something that you look forward to and that you want to do. So relaxation is a really key one. And the other thing as well, we've got a lot going on at home with decorating, and we've got the bathroom being rebuilt, and I'd found that I'd started to practice very late in the evening, going to bed late, getting up early, and probably a lack of sleep was not helping as well. So as somebody reminded me in one of my comments, sometimes getting a good night's sleep can make a big difference as well. So just think about the bigger picture and not just, I've got to find half an hour to practice and I've got to do this and I've got to get through the frustration. So just coming back to the chords for a moment. Obviously strumming the chords and then moving between them is a struggle. Particularly the C. And that dreaded G. So going from the G to the D and back is actually not too bad when I'm strumming, but the others can be a little bit of a difficulty. So changing from the D to the C to the G to the C, you know, they all need a bit of work. Now I'm not getting too down because they are definitely getting better, and I'm beginning to form the chords in the air with my fingers before I'm placing them down. But obviously with the strumming pattern, because we're playing 1, 2 and 4 and we're playing the and then we've got to play again the next chord on the 1, there's very little time to actually move my fingers to the new chord when I'm strumming this pattern. So one of the things that Michael has asked me to do is to take a bit of a step back, but it's a positive step back, and just to play single beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can still play throughout the whole tune. So like this. Try it again. So compared to the strumming, it's pretty monotonous, but it does give me a chance so that I am, for instance, 4 and 1. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my fingers on the and. So 4 and 1. 4 and 1. So that is definitely going to make my life a little bit easier, and that's going to be the homework over the next 2 weeks, is just single beat bars, the same number of beats as per the song, so I'm keeping that in my head, and also moving between the chords in the same way. Now, one of the things that I'm doing, because obviously just strumming out those beats can be a little bit boring, it's good because whilst you're actually holding the chord for the 8 beats, it's building the muscle memory in my hand over that period of time. But one of the things that I am doing just for myself during the practice session is just to strum once and move, and back, and back. And then we'll switch to a different chord, and back. And then sometimes I'll just noodle around. And then the other thing that I'm trying to do is, with the D to G, I've been keeping my ring finger as the anchor point. So leaving that in place, laying down the other fingers. But one of the things that I was finding with that is, because of my little finger getting that in place, I'm actually moving my ring finger further and further and further away from the fret. So sometimes when I'm fretting the D chord, I don't always get it clean. So what I've been trying to do more is lay my fingers down and play the chord, lift my fingers and play the chord. So I'm just exaggerating for the camera here. Normally when I'm doing that, I don't lift my fingers off quite as much as that. And I'm trying to think about forming the chord in the air between the strums. Not easy. And sometimes you get it really wrong, like that one. It's better. And I'm also playing the strums more slowly, or playing the chords more slowly, so that I can hear each of the notes and pick up whether it's sounding wrong or not. So for instance, on the G chord, very often I'm finding that I'm lazy and my first 2 fingers are sliding further down the fret, which can introduce some buzzing, so I just need to make sure that I bring those over more. Just making sure that I'm not tense. So very often with the C chord, sometimes I will actually move my elbow around. It doesn't always work, to make sure that it is loose and relaxed, and my shoulders relaxed as well. So I will very often just move things. Sometimes it makes the chord sound a bit weird. Oops. I was about to say that the chord changes are getting better in the cleanliness when I'm moving between them, and then I go and mess up that last one. But one of the things that I really like about my approach and the way that Michael is teaching me is that we're focusing more on clean chords. So during my downtime, when I was looking around on YouTube just at other people and what they've been doing and inspiration, I came across quite a few people that were strumming out songs, but if you actually listen to the chords, they sounded awful. They really sounded grotty. I'm concentrating more on the clean chords rather than just strumming out chords. And I know that speed of change will come in time. So I'm really pleased that these chords on the whole are sounding relatively clean. And I know there's one or two teachers and professionals that are following along on the channel, and hopefully these aren't sounding too bad. I know that I'm still muting the occasional string. I know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I am getting a lot more positive about the chords, and I'm becoming more positive about the changes. And yeah, progress is coming along. I'm feeling a lot happier, and I'm enjoying the practice sessions again. So lots and lots to work on for next week. Working on building speed in the pentatonic scale, working on building accuracy in the pentatonic scale, and then just continuing with those chord changes. And occasionally I will finish up the session just by strumming out those chord changes and just trying to get the chords sounding half decent. I fail miserably most of the time, but I'm not too worried about it, and I'm not getting frustrated about it any longer. It is what it is. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and I know that I will get there, and when I get there I will move on to something that's probably just as difficult, like bar chords or something, but I think that that will be a massive milestone. It will be a big confidence boost, and that will then make a big difference. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, and the next video is probably going to be a look at the pentatonic scale, because I've been playing what I refer to as a straight pentatonic scale. Somebody on my channel, Michelle, sent me a comment and did a video on mixing up the pentatonic scale, which was quite interesting, and I want to do a video on that, because just sitting banging out the scales up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down can be very monotonous, and just adding some variety into that has really made a huge difference. It's just something I've started doing over the last 24 hours, and I may well cover that in a video in a day or two. Let me just see how I get on with it first. Anyway, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. The support is greatly appreciated. And to get a heads up on when that pentatonic scale video comes out, please remember to hit the bell, and you'll get all notifications for all of my other videos. Thank you ever so much for watching and following along, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care. Bye bye.